Is Tuesday, May 26, 9 a.m. Welcome to the Putnam Board of County Commissioners regular meeting. We will have the invocation by Dave Speeden of Living Hope Church, if you'll come forward. And we'll have the pledge, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Alexander. Please stand if you're able to do so. Please silence your phone. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Father God, we thank you for this day that you've given us. Lord, I pray, God, over this meeting today. Lord, I pray, Lord, over, God, just hearts and people that are bringing things. Lord, I pray for, God, just guidance and wisdom. Lord, your word says that if we lack wisdom, let us ask. Lord, we're asking you for wisdom today. God, I pray over every one of these commissioners. Lord, I pray, God, over their homes, their families. Lord, I pray as they serve our community, Lord, that you would give them wisdom beyond their own. Lord, we're not just here saying a prayer out of formality. Lord, we're inviting your presence into this room. We're asking that you would guide and lead us as we make decisions that affect this county, Lord, this state. God, I just pray, Lord, that you would give each of us, Lord, the right heart, the right attitude. Lord, that we would bring our things, whatever they are, Lord, in a manner that's glorifying and honoring to you. Lord, I just pray again for your presence. I pray for your peace in the midst of, God, even if our hearts are struggling with issues or things or concerns, Lord, that we would keep you in mind, keep that there are feelings and people's real emotions involved on every side of this. Lord, we ask for you. We ask for you to show up in this place today. Lord, we look to you. We lean on you. We need you. God, I pray that you would use this group of commissioners, Lord, as a God, in not just for this county, but Lord, across this state, Lord, that this county would be influencers, Lord, not because of our own doing, but Lord, because of what you do through us. Lord, your word says, apart from you, we can do nothing. So Lord, we choose to invite you, and we look to you to guide and lead us today. We thank you for your presence, and we ask these things in your Son's name, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Please join me in the flag, or pledge allegiance to our flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, we have the approval of minutes.
Madam Chair, I move approval of minutes stated in our packet.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. I think we're going to, the Kiwanis is not quite here yet. All right, so we'll move forward with the LDC text amendment.
All right. Good morning, Board. For the record,
Morning.
Ethan Thompson, Planning and Development Services.
For the record.
Sir.
He's sharing
Ethan Thompson, Planning and Development Services, presenting LDC 26000001. This is a application by Zachary Ford requesting an amendment to the text of the Putnam County Land Development Code, Chapter 45, Article 12, Division 8. Procedures for review of subdivision, Section 45-1036. He is requesting an amendment to the Type 3 subdivision application. Currently there are 6 classifications of alterations for the division of the land. We've got our Type 1s, Type 2s, 3s, which is subject to the application today. These are our family subdivisions. We have a Type 4, which is not included in this presentation, boundary line adjustments, and a lot split. Land Development Code Section 45-1036 provides the standards by which one can apply for a Type 3 family subdivision. At the moment, agricultural future land use is required, as well as an agricultural zoning designation. You must also meet the density or provide a qualifying residential density exception for an immediate family member. The applicant is requesting that the requirement for parcels that are subject to Type 3 subdivisions have an agricultural future land use designation be removed from Section 45-1036. Currently, Section 45-1036 requires parcels to have both ag zoning and ag future land use. The applicant is requesting that the agricultural future land use designation be removed. The ag zoning requirement would remain, as would the rest of the requirements and regulations that pertain to a type 3 family subdivision. Staff believes that the requested amendment would not substantially increase residential development such that it would cause urban sprawl. Type 3 subdivisions are often accompanied by family density exceptions anyways, which would allow parcels to exceed their future land use density requirements and be subdivided down to that minimum lot size requirement of the ag zoning district. Again, parcels would still be required to have that ag zoning to qualify for the type 3 in the first place, so the 1 acre lot size minimum would still apply if the amendment is adopted. Aside from agriculture and rural residential future land use, under certain conditions, there are no future land use designations that would have a more restrictive density than the ag zoning minimum lot size. Therefore, if the amendment is adopted, the type 3 subdivision would not be able to create residential developments that are more dense than what's already allowed. Staff is also proposing an amendment to the section as well, subsection 5, which would add a line allowing for applicants to apply for an administrative variance to reduce the required minimum easement width of 66 feet. We have included 2 versions of the proposed amendments if the boards aren't interested in staff's proposed changes. Staff's additions also include grammatical corrections to section 45.1036 and section 45.1033. I believe the first version you have is the amendments by the applicant, staff, and then the planning commission had some suggested changes, and the second is just what the applicant submitted. I've condensed all that for the presentation. So Zach Ford's submitted application is the strike through up here at the top, designated agriculture in the Putnam County Comprehensive Plan. And then after that is where we have our own recommended changes. The minimum easement width requirement of 66 feet may be reduced through an administrative variance subject to the requirements provided in Article 9, Division 4. Subsection 3, making subdivisions plural, and then subsection 5, adjustments would also be plural. Staff recommends approval of the proposed amendments to the Land Development Code as the request is consistent with Florida statutes and consistent with the intent of the Putnam County Comprehensive Plan, the goals, objectives, and policies therein. At the April 8th, 2026 Planning Commission meeting, the Planning Commission voted 4-1 to recommend approval of staff's recommendation with the strike-through discussed at the meeting regarding LDC section 45.1036.8, and they also added, I believe you have it in the staff report, they've added their own recommended change. Are there any questions for staff?
Commissioner Harvey, you recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I want to give kudos to Commissioner Palatka. He worked on this many years ago, getting large tracts of land and agriculture to family subdivisions. And that was beneficial because we had large acreage landowners that wanted to give property to their children or their grandchildren, which was fine. I don't know why, and I think you're going to have to help me understand, why do we remove from the future land use ag? And I don't understand that, because it still has to be ag in either proposal, either by the applicant or by the applicant staff and planning. So help me understand why we're removing the ag from the future land use.
At the moment, we have a lot of parcels in the county that are zoned ag that are large in size, but they have a different
Future land use.
future land use, the rural residential, what have you, urban reserve, stuff like
Okay.
that. So this,
Okay.
for example, Zach Ford owns 15 acres of ag land with urban reserve future land use. He's in an urban reserve enclave. We would not recommend approval to get him out of that into ag. And I don't know that our comprehensive plan would allow for it. So all he is eligible for is a type 1, which typically families don't have the capacity to make the application because we require paved roads, lighting, sidewalks. So his only option to subdivide his parcel for his family is a lot split, which is
Gotcha.
not equitable for them. And his is not the only case. We didn't walk him into this path simply for his own family. We've seen dozens of cases like this where families come in and there's just nothing we can do for them.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. And then on page 14 of our agenda, the sale of the parcel. I remember there was a lot of discussion back when we implemented the family subdivision. But this commissioner has a problem with adopting rules that we're never going to be able to enforce, or should we enforce. The sale of a parcel created in that environment cannot be done for 5 years. I have a real problem with government telling people what they can do with that. Now, I understand the premises of it, and the idea is to keep it in the family, and I get all that. But I don't think we're going to be inundated with people who want to put a subdivision or a family thing in there with the idea of selling it in 5 years. I just don't see that. And I don't see us trying to enforce that. So help me understand why we still need that number 8 in that, or the rest of, I guess, whatever deals with limiting someone's ability to sell their property. I just don't get that.
Commissioner Harvey, thank you for your question, and Zachary Baker for the record.
Good.
I did want to take an opportunity to just go over that material change because we noticed it was not provided in the presentation. So within your packet, under the ordinance that is, excuse me, under the ordinance that is titled Draft Applicant, Staff, and Planning Commission Recommendation, if you navigate to page 4 of that draft ordinance, in section 8 of LDC, section 45-1036, we see some more red line. And this was at the recommendation of the Planning Commission. So currently, in part, section 8 reads, the sale of any parcel created by a type 3 subdivision is prohibited for 5 years from the date the parcel was created if the parcel remains vacant. That's its current legislation. The Planning Commission wants to strike if the parcel remains vacant. They don't want it to be conveyed for 5 years, whether it's developed or not. And then under that first paragraph, they have chosen to strike a sentence which currently reads, if the parcel is developed with a single-family dwelling and certificate of occupancy has been issued to the individuals named on the Type 3 subdivision application, no prohibition for its sale would be required. Again, the Planning Commission wants to strike anything that could allow the conveyance of these family subdivided lands prior to 5 years. Back to your question, Commissioner Harvey, it would be very difficult to enforce. And even if we did have the staff means to enforce that change, then we would have to decide, okay, now we can tell people you can't build on your property, but what is the reconciliation? How do they fix that? Right. And the only way to fix it is to put them through the process that is a plat. So we're creating an ordinance or an opportunity for families to split, to give land to their families to build. But in the event that they're unable to do so, or they sell, or they don't fall under one of these 5, approved ways to convey the land, now we're just passing that burden down the line to the next purchaser of that property. It is staff's belief that when a family subdivision undergoes the scrutiny of the various departments that look at it, we're ensuring that those properties have physical and legal access. We're ensuring that it won't exceed the residential density of the area with or without a density exception. We're ensuring that road frontage is met, lot sizes are met, special flood hazard areas are avoided. So staff is of the opinion that whether the parcel is vacant or not, it's still considered a buildable piece of property. It's undergone the reviews of not only planning and zoning, public works, property appraiser, Florida Department of Health for well and septic, so on. So I believe that this would be just a more restrictive policy that then exacerbate staff time to govern and regulate. And for that reason, we did not recommend this approval with Planning Commission's suggestions.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
So Zach, you're wanting to remove any provisions in there that where the property owner has to retain ownership beyond or up to 5 years?
No, sir, we're wanting to keep it just like it currently is, where if the property is vacant, it couldn't be transferred, but if somebody builds on that property and decides that they want to sell for whatever reason, whether it's identified in the code or they just want to move somewhere else in Palatka,
Yep.
we
And
allow that to occur.
Yeah, I kind of understand the premise of where you're going with that, to keep people from doing small-time developments and just taking large tracts of land and splitting them and just start flipping them for a profit. I have a quick question, too, for Mr. Grimes. And this pertains to you, too, Zach. It said we're going to reduce the easements from 66 feet to, or are we not reducing?
So the Land Development Code and another section of the code for right-of-way widths, it allows a 30-foot right-of-way with a variance from the Administrative Deviation Committee. If anyone sought less than 30 foot, that would have to come to the Board of County Commissioners. So right now, we require a 66-foot wide right-of-way when it's a type 3 family subdivision. But there has been some instances where people need 50 foot or 45 because of,
Setbacks and such.
different characteristics of the land.
Okay.
So that language was never expressly stated in this part of the code, but it was implied. So we have had conversations with folks about, if you want to reduce the width, this is what you do. But now we've just put it in black and white in the code to give them something to read and say, okay, this is an option I have as well.
Caveat to that, Mr. Grimes, what, as far as from a life safety standpoint, what is the minimum easement that you guys feel comfortable taking EMS vehicles, rescue down, police vehicles and such, just from my knowledge?
Well, so if you talk about a developed subdivision, right, where there's going to be multiple homes, I mean, I wouldn't request anything less than probably at least a 10-foot travel lane, which would give us 20 foot of roadway, right? So they had room to pass. 22, 23 foot's better. Just give us a little bit so the mirrors don't clip.
Yeah.
On a single subdivision going into a family subdivision where you're probably not going to encounter crossways traffic, I mean, I still think you need to probably maintain a 20-foot wide at the least. I mean, but also the other reason for the 66-foot was it included drainage.
Yep.
So in case drainage had to be put in, it gave it. But if they're not giving us, the county, the right-of-ways, and they're for us to maintain, if they want to maintain their drainage easements within 10 foot, okay, right? But this was really truly the 66-foot wide is that the county's taking it in, and then we had to maintain the drainage, and we had to maintain the minimum widths of the roads. So we did a exception back here many years ago for the Veterans Village right here behind, because it was a smaller subdivision, right? And we said, well, what's the chances of us having to have two trucks passing at one time, and one of them could ease over onto the shoulder, right? So in a subdivision that small, it's kind of narrowed, right? So you could come in. I think we ended up with 10-foot lanes over there versus the normal 11 or 12s.
Okay.
So I would be comfortable with two 10-foot lanes, but by the time you put the stripes and stuff in the middle, you're probably up around 11.5 foot. But enough room where we could at least get two vehicles to pass by, because having a dump or a garbage truck and a fire truck on the road at the same time sometimes is kind of different, but I mean, it could happen, but I think as long as we got room for both of those, we'd be fine.
Okay, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I just want to make sure that we didn't have a problem down the road. Thanks.
Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Zach, for the record, Baker, that's just a private joke. I'm sorry. So you're recommending that we just take out the applicant's recommendation only with the change that the applicant's requesting, not what the staff and the Planning Commission is recommending?
Staff is recommending the applicant's amendment and staff's additions to the language. We are not recommending striking.
It's all in one, though.
But you haven't given us a version of that, is that correct? That's the confusion, because you've got two drafts in here. One says applicant, staff, and Planning Commission recommendation, and the other draft just says applicant recommendation.
Yeah, we only have two choices, so.
So we can bring you a third one at the next
I would
meeting.
like that. I don't think this is ready for prime time, and plus coming off a holiday, it didn't give us a whole lot of time to air these concerns. I would recommend that we table this until you come back with an applicant and a staff recommendation
Version.
version, yes.
Yeah. So my other comment would be, thank you, Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you.
My other comment would be, with the Planning Commission's recommendation, I don't know that SB 180 I think SB 180 told us that we can't make some of these things more strict. And in this case, what they're trying to do is make this stricter. And I don't even know if that's a word, but the point is, it sounds good, right. Anyway, I had that concern as well. I'm with, I've been a fan of creating and allowing families to divide their property because it's the one thing that they can leave their children, and it doesn't make sense to make it harder. And for me, as a commissioner, I've always been there ever since I've been elected. That's been the thing I've said, is people in this community should be able to give their kids property. They shouldn't have to hire an attorney. They shouldn't have to wait 2 years to make 10 acres out of 100 to give one of their kids. It's just total, I'm going to be nice. Anyway, so I agree with Commissioner Harvey at this point. I think if we can come back, but we can still listen to the public and get some public input. Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
Thank you. I agree with you. I like the idea of revisiting this and making it more property owner friendly. But I think we are able to change our land development code, aren't we, Mr. Commando? Is that the case? I believe we can make our land development code stricter, but not our overarching comp plan. Is that correct?
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Certainly.
Okay.
And if I could, Board,
Sure.
state statute requires 2 meetings to make these amendments.
Okay.
So this is just the first of 2. Sometimes I feel like I save the presentation over there and I get over here and it's different. I had a slide on that before I got here. So what we are deciding today is to hear it again for the second time.
Okay, thank
So
you
we
for
don't need to
clarifying
table
that.
it. We just need to decide, would we hear it again? And then
Okay.
when we come to that, the second one, we can bring you guys that.
Okay, all right. Commissioner Palacio, you're recognized.
Commissioner Wilkerson, I do agree with you about families being able to leave children. It's a legacy of something of theirs to have, and let's not make it as complicated as some would like it to be. I would like to hear from the applicant, if they're here,
Yeah.
to
They are here.
get some of their feedback of how they feel about what exactly they want to see happen.
Yep. All right, thank you. Going back to the public, is there anybody here who would like to speak on this issue? Is the applicant here? All right, would you like to speak one way or another? And then also any cards? Do you have a card on this issue? It is a public hearing, so anybody who wishes to speak on this item is welcome to speak. Go ahead.
I'm Zach Ford, Palatka, Florida. So we have a bunch of family land there, and I'm just trying to get it split up so that way I can live there with the rest of my family and take care of my parents.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
I agree with you.
Kind of
can't
a
do it
no-brainer.
without a road right now, which kind of sucks.
Okay, yes, sir. Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So do you have an issue with us? I understand that we don't need to table it because we can come to a second meeting, but we still have to pass something that I'm not comfortable with today. Okay, and that's where I'd fall down on. So do you have a problem with us trying to table this and come back with the proper language, the simple language of just removing that? That's really all I care about, is to make that work. I didn't understand the issue until today. And then that's when it was thrown on me, and it's kind of hard to make that decision, because here's the problem in our business: the unintended consequences that follow. I want to make sure we mitigate those as much as possible before I vote on something or just to send it to another meeting. I'd rather make it right before I send it to another meeting.
Right.
Okay, you comfortable with that? Or,
I mean, it's another 30 days added on.
I understand.
Would it be 30 days?
Would it be that?
I don't know that, go ahead, Zach.
I apologize. Can I get the question again?
How long would it take to process this to
If we
clean
table
up
it.
the language?
So I want to first say, whenever we consider a text amendment, the commission, through discussion and deliberation, can decide what they want to keep, strike altogether, some, this bit, that bit, you know. So the ordinance that's prepared that has the applicant, staff, and planning commission recommendation, if need be, we could go through them and explain specifically, you know, who proposed what, and then allow the
All
board
right,
to
let's
deliberate.
do that, because I'm not really wanting to kick this can.
And then to kind of try to answer Commissioner Harvey's question, the statute says that it has to be, the next meeting has to be held at least 10 days after today at a 5:05 meeting, unless majority plus one of the board votes to hold it at another time.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Alexander, do you want to go ahead, or do you want to wait till he gives us the next version?
That was my comment. So we dealt with this with our family and splitting up some property as well, and it was a laborious task. So he can make the appropriate changes as we speak, and we can go through those and vote on whether we move it to the next meeting, so we don't have to prolong this process, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
Zach, before you begin, I got one other person from the public who'd like to speak. Mr. Minor. Please state your name and address for the record.
For the record, David Minor, 116 Sheffield Road, Palatka. There's things that I've been dealing with and stuff like that, and there's one part that I would love to see add this, but I don't want to cause this gentleman
Yes, sir.
a delay. But in the Florida statute about leasing the property, every time we tried to do something before, they said, well, why don't you sign that property over to him? Well, the Florida statute said you don't have to, 196.041, because he can take part of that property and lease it to his children or from his parents or whoever, and he doesn't have to divide it. Every time I hear something, you have to divide it. If you're going to correct this thing, throw this into it. It is a Florida statute. So why don't we go ahead and add this to his thing so he doesn't have to divide it? There may be a reason he doesn't want to divide it. There may be or when we did ours, we didn't want to divide it. There may be a legal reason, like let's say you had a loan on the property, okay? Well, then you have to pay off the loan to be able to divide it. Well, if you lease it under the 98-year lease, they can file homestead exemption, they can build their own house, and that needs to be changed through the building department too.
That needs to be added, is what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
It's fine, I just want to make sure I understood. Okay.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
Thank you. All right, going back to, anybody else wishing to speak on this item? All right, going back to Mr. Baker. So we're on page 16, we're going to go through this draft.
I don't have the full packet in front of me. I am on page 3 of the draft ordinance.
Which
Which is
draft?
page 18, I
The
think.
draft that is the applicant, staff, and planning commission.
Okay, okay, yes, page 18.
So, page 3 there, we've got section 2, section 45-1036. All right. Mr. Ford's only recommended change is to strike designated agriculture in the Putnam County Comprehensive Plan and have.
Right.
And
Okay.
his proposal is to include having agricultural zoning.
Okay,
That's Mr. Ford.
okay,
Staff, keeping in this section, staff is proposing the addition of the minimum requirement of 66 feet may be reduced through an administrative variance subject to the requirements provided in Article 9, Division 4 of this code.
yep. And I don't have a problem with that because that's a good process.
In addition to that, there are some grammatical corrections that staff is proposing. So in that same parenthesis 5, we've added a and then a hyphen between county maintained. So it would read if a county maintained road is not available,
Right.
etc. And we've also added a hyphen between foot and wide for
Yep.
the 66-foot wide easement.
Okay,
In addition to that, if we flip back to page, it's going to be page 1 of that draft ordinance.
okay. It's page
And-
16 in our packet.
And this would be amending 45-1033 classifications of subdivisions. Parenthesis 3, we are making subdivisions plural, another grammatical change.
Okay,
Same in parenthesis 5 on page 2 of this ordinance. We are making boundary line adjustments plural.
okay,
That is the extent of staff's recommendations in addition to the applicant.
Okay,
And then the planning commission's recommendations are wholly placed on page 4 and involve parenthesis 8, which we briefly discussed a little bit ago, but they are wanting to strike if the parcel remains vacant, and if the parcel is developed with a single-family dwelling and certificate of occupancy has been issued to the individuals named on the type 3 subdivision application, no prohibition for its sale would be required.
okay. So if we make no changes on page 4 out of 5, then we've got the the staff's recommendation. Correct.
If we omit the red line language on parenthesis
Understood.
8,
Subsection 8.
Okay,
then you'd be left with staff and applicant.
all right, thank you. Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So concerning Mr. Minor's suggestion about adding the lease per Florida statute, have you looked at that, and would you recommend that also?
I mean, it's one of those things where it comes back to enforcement. Whenever we require the split and the conveyance, we know that land is going fee simple to that family member. It's easier for us to see based off of the record and a signed affidavit that a family member is truly receiving that property. If we were to allow people to start building more houses on a single parcel, we'd be in violation of another section of our code, which is 45-484, which limits you to 1 home per parcel unless otherwise allowed. Those 2 otherwise allowances would be a medical hardship or an accessory dwelling unit for a family member or friend to stay in. Being that it's found in the statute, Chapter 196, I think that's more pertaining to the homestead tax and its abilities to have 2 different houses under homestead tax exemption. The conveyance is just an easier way to track where the land is going, how it's been divided, and who is receiving that property. We've not put any consideration into amending the text to include leasing the property.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
All right, is there a recommendation from the board? And don't forget about the recommendation when you make your motion for the meeting time. Go ahead, Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
Mr. Baker, on number 8, if we do strike out the red line area, it states the sale of the parcel created by a type 3 subdivision is prohibited for 5 years from the date the parcel is created. So they cannot sell the property no matter what for 5 years.
No, sir. If we didn't include the changes to 8, I could split the property. I could give my brother a piece of land. He could build a house on it, and then he can say, "It's a great house, but I don't want to live next to you anymore, bro." And he can sell it. No prohibitions, no nothing. If we were to accept the changes of the Planning Commission, he could build a house, say, "I don't want to live here anymore, bro. What family can I give it to?" Right? And then he would be limited in who he can convey that piece of property to, which in my opinion is kind of a direct violation and a property rights element of the comprehensive plan.
Correct.
But that's neither here nor there.
It is there.
Yeah, but to me, it just sounds like it says you can't sell the property for 5 years from the date it was created, the parcel.
Well, I think what I
I
understand.
would remove that whole first sentence, and then you can do what you want to with it.
I don't think you need to, but I think the point the planning commission was making, Commissioner, was they were trying to say, well, they didn't want people splitting their land and then
Splitting,
basically
flipping.
creating a subdivision and then selling it. But at the end of the day, life happens.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
it could be that somebody got a divorce, it could be a death in the family. I mean, why would we try to limit that?
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I don't want to restrict, but
Yeah.
this statement says you cannot sell it. It's prohibited from sale for 5 years after it was created. You read, that's what the sentence says.
You're at 8 what?
The intro line on parentheses 8 on page number 4. The sale of any parcel created by this type 3 subdivision is prohibited for 5 years from the date it was created. So if you created 10 individual parcels within that, you can't sell them for 5 years. That's what that statement says. We are not trying to do that. We want them to be able to sell it.
Yeah, that is, the existing language is, The sale of any parcel created by a type 3 subdivision is prohibited for 5 years from the date of the parcel, the date the parcel was created, if the parcel remains vacant. So,
But if we were strike the if it remains vacant, then it says you can't sell any of the parcels that were created.
right, what this would do is, right now it's stating if the parcel, current language, if the parcel is vacant, you've got 5 sections underneath A, B, C, D, E, which would allow the conveyance of that vacant parcel. If the parcel has a home on it, there's no additional consideration. It is a fee simple piece of property that can be sold.
I got it.
Yep, so if it has a built home on it, you could sell it immediately.
That is correct.
And if it is vacant, you could sell it, given one of these 5 provisions.
That is
Right.
correct.
So it has to fit into one of these conditions below.
If it's vacant.
Currently,
Gotcha.
All right, we good?
if it's vacant.
Okay. All right, is there a recommendation from the board?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to recommend that we, number one, move this to the second reading at the next meeting at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So we'll take a vote on that. Is that okay? And then I'll come back to,
All right,
I'd second that.
we have a motion and a second regarding the next meeting at 9 a.m. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
aye.
All right, that's part of the motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to come back and adopt the applicant staff planning recommendation version with the changes that we heard today, with the exception of the planning commission changes on page 8. I'd like to leave that out.
Section 8, yes, sir.
Section 8, yes.
All right.
Section 8, okay.
Okay. Are there any questions? Is there a second?
I can second that.
Second by Commissioner Palacier. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. No, that was a little difficult, but there's a lot of details in this, and it affects people's future. All right, we have, we're going to go back to the presentations. We have the Kiwanis Club here to make a presentation. While he's coming up, we'd like to thank Bill White from St. Johns River Water Management for being here, recognize him. And thank you, Pastor Speeden, for your prayer this morning.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I'm Mike Meredith with the Zaya City Kiwanis. Here with me is Ed Killebrew, and we'd like to continue our support with the Putnam County Rec Department. Every Child's a Swimmer. We've been sponsoring this way before my time, so we have a check for $2,500 to sponsor their program this coming year.
Very good. Very good.
Chair, if I can just say a few
Absolutely.
words. This check means that we are able to offer swim lessons to everyone in the community for, instead of a regular $40 cost, it's a $10 cost.
Very good.
Last year, we had 237 children graduate our Red Cross swim lessons, and that's a testament to the contributions that were made in making them accessible and available to those students. So our first session starts the 1st of June over at Calvary, and so we're excited to get started, and this is going to help us get all of those registrations going. So just really want to thank them for their contributions to this program.
Absolutely. Kiwanis, great job. I've got a couple commissioners that want to speak, but as we've talked about up here, there's a lot of water bodies in Putnam County, so a child could accidentally fall into anything, so we want to make sure they can swim. Commissioner Harvey, and thank you so much for this. Commissioner Harvey, you recognized.
Mr. Meredith, thank you so much for your club, and Mr. Killebrew for the Kiwanis for what they did. You just saved lives, is what you just did.
Yep.
You saved lives in our community, and I remember as a young boy with asthma, my mother insisting that I do swim lessons, and I struggled through it, but I'm glad I did because I can swim. And I remember when my youngest daughter was taking swim lessons, I was told I had to leave the property. I could not stand there and try to be of assistance. She needed to learn how to fall in the water. She needed to learn how to get out of the water. Dad wouldn't have done that. I would have stepped in, but so now all my family can swim. And we do, like Commissioner Wilkins said, we live in water. Putnam County is full of water. And we just saved, and this group saved lives today. And there couldn't be a better fitting for that to take place in Putnam County. And I know it's a lot of hard work. I know it's a lot of selling this and begging for that. And, you know, I do, because I'm part of the Rotary, and gosh, we do the same thing. But, you know, you save lives. And at the end of the day, that's what we got to hang our hat on. And we serve this community well by doing that. So thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Palacio, you're recognized.
Just going to piggyback on Commissioner Wilkerson and Commissioner Harvey's comments. In a county that has around 100 square miles of water alone, just in the county, let alone we live in Florida, which is surrounded by water, full of water. Water, you can't hardly go anywhere without water. You save kids' lives by doing this. There's no question about it. And every time you can save a kid's life, it's a great day. And you're to be commended in your organization for all their hard work in doing so. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized. Thank you.
Guys, I just want to say thank you. As a fellow Kiwanian, my grandfather had 38 years of perfect attendance. That club was a huge part of his life. And to see you guys carrying that lineage, it makes me very, very proud. The donations, I've seen the effects. It helps save lives. I remember going out there as a kid and doing the chicken cooks downtown at Central State. So I've been involved with it for a long time. I wish I had the attendance that my grandfather did, but it's something I'm very proud of. And Mike, Ed, thank you guys for continuing that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Did y'all want to get a picture?
Yeah, let's.
Absolutely. We'll go down front.
Didn't realize we're having a picture today. Yeah, why don't? All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. All right, come on. That's the kind of news that we want to make. We want the positive news. Lots of positive things going on in the community. Public comment on agenda items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It's not reasonable to expect the board will engage in debate or deliberation about matters on which the board has received no prior information as part of the agenda. Please limit your time to 3 minutes. Public comment cards are conveniently placed at the meeting room entrance and should be submitted prior to the meeting to the deputy clerk, who sits to the right of the podium. This is on agenda items. We will have an opportunity for public comment in a little bit later. We have Mr. Dan Dodge. Do you want to come on up?
I believe he's going to wait.
He's going to wait till for new business? Okay, all right. On consent agenda, is there anyone wishing to pull anything from the consent agenda? Commissioner Harvey?
I have none.
Commissioner Alexander? Commissioner Newbold?
Nothing to pull.
Commissioner Palacier?
I have nothing.
And I have nothing.
Madam Chair, I'd
Wow.
like to entertain a motion that we can pass the consent agenda items A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J.
Second.
All right, we have a motion second. Any further comment or discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, new business. First up, we have the Lake Como Community Center. Now, would you like to come forward? We're going to discuss that. Did you want him to come forward first, or?
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
That's fine. I think it would be better.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I'm delighted to be here among you. And if you can bear with me, I'll pull up my notes.
Sure, no problem.
So my name is Dan Dodge. I live in Crescent City, and I am president of the Fruitland Peninsula Historical Society. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Lake Como Community Center. which is a jewel in that community and in South Putnam County. It is, and to give you a background of myself, my career has been in the resort management industry, primarily in Florida, being general manager and CEO of outstanding historical resorts in Florida, primarily South Florida, East Coast and West Coast. I've been responsible for the maintenance, restoration of over 60 structures, primarily wooden. I've had the pleasure of working with such noted individuals in historic preservation as Avery Faulkner, who was a member of the President's Advisory Council on Historic Preservation under President Reagan and Bush. I might add that personally, I've restored many old houses, and I'm just completing one now, and I'm going to confess to you, it probably will be my last. I've been retired for some time, and this one, the restoration, I lived in it during. So anyways, this community center is architecturally very important to our community. Not only historically, because it's over 100 years old, but it was very important in the development of the Lake Como area. It was the social center, and still is, of that community. Architecturally, it has a hip roof, which structurally is preferred, especially during hurricanes. It's been proven, and it makes it unique and very special. It is worthy of restoration and investment. What's the alternative? To build new? It would cost considerably more, and you would lose the identity of over 100 years of social interaction to that property. So I stand here before you, fully supporting it, and thank you for your time.
Mr. Dodge, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you think that the majority of people at the Lake Como community agree with you? Do you think that they want, I understand you're a historical buff. So my question is, do you think that the majority of people in that area would want that restored?
Let me answer that in several ways.
Okay,
Honestly, I can't say.
that's fair.
However, professionally and personally, I can tell you that it is a very important part of that area. Sociologically, it means a great deal, and it will in the future as well. There's a huge investment in it, time-wise, with
Sure.
people interacting, and it was used for many different important events. I suppose that some people may not be aware of that importance. People are busy raising families and working, and they may not be aware of it, but I can tell you it is very important to the community.
All right. Commissioner Pelletier, do you have a question?
Not a question, just a comment. Y'all know how I feel about saving our history and everything about that. I think it's a very worthy cause, and I agree with our speaker that you would never reproduce that building for what you're going to talk about spending to re-level and bring it back to a state of new condition, or as new as possible condition. So I definitely think we should look into doing something like this. I fully support this, absolutely. I'm kind of curious about the comment, or in our notes here, it'd be a 3 to 5 year process. I'm just guessing that they would do some of it and maybe it has to settle again or something like that. I'm just guessing. I don't know. I'm not in this business, but that's kind of a long period of time, but I'm guessing that's what that might be. I certainly would love for someone from Alpha Foundations to come before us and answer some questions.
Well, in fairness, gentlemen, I want to remind you, we haven't heard the presentation yet by our staff yet, so.
Well, let me tell you that I've had experience in a much larger structure, and this structure is 3,600 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk about a 65 room hotel with a dining room that seats over 300 and many public spaces, 3 stories, that was built first section 1911 on piles on a barrier island, I can tell you by experience, it takes time, and sir, you're exactly right, for things to settle. So instead of doing it all at once, you're going to have better results doing it over time. And thank you for your support, sir.
Thank you. Is there questions for Mr. Dodge right at this point? We haven't heard from our presenter yet.
Yeah, I'll just wait, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
All right, that was public comment on that item. If we could go into the presentation.
Thank you, Chair. Bringing you today, during Hurricane Milton, Lake Como Center sustained hurricane force winds. And following that storm, as we did our facility inspections, there was a significant shift in the building's foundation. We did attempt to work through FEMA, however, the project was not deemed eligible. The Lake Como Community Center is approximately 3,600 square feet, and when it was safe for occupancy, it is currently shut down because it is not safe. But it was a very active community center with a number of different clubs and organizations and community individuals meeting there. We have reached out to numerous contractors for some assistance as to how we approach this project, and Alpha Foundations is the only responsive company at this time. We work through engineers and architects and contractors. So the repairs would be in a phased approach, first leveling the building. Alpha Foundation's estimate is $100,000 over a 3 to 5 year time span. Once the building then becomes level, we'll know more about the roof work that would need to be repaired as far as rafters and supports to determine just how much is needed to repair the interior to make it safe for occupancy again.
All right, questions for the presenter. Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At first, when I first thought about this and I heard about it, I thought, maybe they deserve a better building, a new building down there. But when you really take into account, it's hard for us to spend the taxpayers' money, $100,000 on a hope to that it'll work. But I'm willing to take the chance on a hope to on this one, because I do think that character matters and I think community matters. And I would like to see us go down that road where, because we couldn't build a new building for trying to invest in this one, no doubt. So I think it behooves us as a board, we're trying to weigh the consequences here, but I do think we need to try to invest in our community and keep what we can do. People don't realize the rich history that Putnam County really does have, and once it's gone, we're never going to get it back. So this commissioner is supportive of doing that going forward with this proposal. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
I've had the opportunity to be in that space as a child, and more recently by invitation of the Lake Como Community Group. It is a well-used facility. They have a robust little group. The 2 times I've been there were 40 and 50 people at their gatherings. The buildings mentioned prominently in the history of Putnam County. In full disclosure, I've spoken to local contractor to get an idea of, after this initial foundation restoration, just an estimate of $30,000 to $50,000 to repair the roof line. It'll need some cosmetics in addition to that, but given those numbers, and even if they ended up being low, you couldn't replace that space for it cost you 2 to 3 times as much. So I think it is could be money well spent. You had mentioned if the community wants this or a different building. I spent some time with maintenance, looked at alternative sites, talked about demolition and rebuild, and I nearly got hung down there.
Okay.
They very much would like to be in the same space, and if I didn't honestly feel like this was a worthwhile spend, I'd say, let's just start over. But
Right.
it feels right anyway. So thank you.
Thank you. And when you mentioned the roof, I saw it, apparently the rafters needs reattached. Was that discussion part of your discussion?
Yes, it was, and it's a strange situation. In that building itself, it's a balloon construction. The rafters are separated, but there's not a leak in the roof.
Okay. That's good.
Had new metal put on the roof, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. So there's a lot to work with.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm right in line with Commissioner Pelletier, Commissioner Newbold, Commissioner Harvey. I think that all of us are very sentimental about our history, Putnam County, and the buildings that are here, and we need to find any way we can to preserve those, and I think that it's financially feasible as well. The only concern I have is the timeline on this from Alpha Foundations. Is that 3 to 5 years before we can even occupy it again?
Yes, sir, it is.
So it's going to be a 3 to 5 year process before it can even be used.
They have to slowly bring the foundation back up level before it's going to be safe for occupancy or anything. So yes, it will be. And we'll know more once they start making those incremental adjustments to the foundation about whether we're going to be closer to the 3 or the 5 year mark.
And they've been the only contractor that's been responsive in helping us with this project?
They have, and we have searched for foundation people from here to Southeast Florida, as well as we worked through Joe at CRG just to see if he had contacts that we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
We met multiple people down there, and multiple vendors walked away from it and just said it wasn't something that they could do.
Really? That's
The community realizes it's going to be a process. There are 3 members here of the community. The gentleman on the right is a part of the local church who has been kind enough to make space, locally for the community to meet. They are kind of united and resigned to the idea that, it may take longer than they want, but they're, finding a way to continue to have their community activities, amongst themselves. And Pomona Park has been willing to help in space. So, the whole South Putnam area would like to.
No,
see it
you
stay.
know me, patience probably isn't one of my virtues, so I always want to see us be able to return this back to our community as quickly as possible so they can take advantage of
Yeah,
it, because it
that's the
sounds
only
like it's
challenge.
utilized a lot by our community. So if there's any way we can speed it along, I would like to see that. But as usual, staff's done a great job trying to find a solution, so
Right.
thank you, guys.
Commissioner Pelletier, you're recognized.
I apologize for getting the cart in front of the horse here.
okay.
When I said, I just read there and said it advised staff on how to proceed, and that's what I was doing. But I did a little quick math here, and you're talking about a building that's probably in the 1.1 to who knows how fancy we're going to make it if you're going to rebuild it. That would cost to rebuild, and for $100,000, and we'll spend some more than that. I'm not under the illusion that it's going to come in a dead on 100,000, but I think we should definitely proceed in that direction. I hate that it's going to be kind of locked up for a year or 3 to 5 years. I hate that part of it, but for what we're saving and doing down there, and I won't get into it, but I have a lot of good personal memories of in that building with my father years ago, and it's just a great building. There's an awesome amount of history there that I certainly want to see preserved at any way possible that we can make that fit in. I certainly want to do so.
All right, I just have a couple questions for staff before we move forward. Has Alpha Foundations has that been a long-standing company?
Yes.
Okay, that's important to me because companies come and go in a 3 to 5 year period.
Madam Chair, they're a national company. When a number of the sinkholes were opening over in the Pinellas and Pasco area, they're the ones that came and fixed those issues.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Okay, that makes me feel a lot better. Okay, that was my only question. And, one other question. How do you monitor that? How do you do the project management to make sure that they're continuing to go out and do what they need to do.
Like any of our other projects, we'll set up routine, either bi-weekly, bi-monthly meetings, or bi-monthly or monthly meetings
Or
to meet out
quarterly
there.
in this case, who
Or
knows?
quarterly, depending on how fast. I mean, we won't know until they get started how fast we're gonna be able to move, and then we'll set the pace at that point once we know. But we will have regular and routine conversations on monitoring.
Okay, that makes me feel better. All right, coming back to the board, is there a recommendation?
I'd like to make the motion to move ahead with the Lake Como Community Center project.
Second that.
Second,
We're all
so for discussion purposes, what is the funding source?
So I will actually be bringing you back a second agenda item to execute the contract and the budget amendment. It'll come from general fund reserves.
All right, just so the board's clear on that.
Yep. You
All right,
know.
have a motion and a second. Any further comments or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming today. All right, we're going to take a quick recess and then come back and listen to the rest of the meeting.
feedback signs for the public driving through the school zones. The amount that you see there is for 2 signs at each location. The schools that were identified are schools that are on county roads, like Melrose, Aquilla, those were left off because they are on a state road. And that would require us to reach out to FDOT and can we put signs up in there right away, that kind of thing, which might be something that you want to do later on, but this was more immediate and easier to get to, low hanging fruit.
Yes, sir.
Because it's on a county road.
All right, and so it will show what your speed is and what what you're supposed to be going.
Yeah, and I spoke with my signal guy this morning, Chuck Thornton, and we've got a couple of options. If you order the signs and want to save money on posts and foundation, they can actually put the feedback signs on the same pole as the school beacon for the school zone. So it'll give you the flashing yellow up top, speed limit's 20 miles an hour school zone, and right below that is their speed as they're entering the zone. And then 100 feet past that, you would put the fines are doubled for speeding, or you could leave the fines doubled for speeding on the beacon and put the your speed feedback sign 100 feet past that.
Do you have a preference?
I would put it on the school beacon.
All right.
Because then you're hitting it. They know what they're doing as they're entering it. Because we want them to be slowed down at the start, not 100 feet past it.
Do you have experience with the schools?
I'm sorry?
Do you have experience with the schools?
Oh, yeah.
Commissioner Harvey,
I
you
mean, I've had to step out of the way a few times,
Yeah.
directing traffic.
Commissioner Harvey, you recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to thank our Public Works Department for such a speedy response. I concur that we should be doing this today, number one. I do think we should reach out to DOT, number two.
Okay.
I think we should look at the others areas. And then I'll just go on record and say I think we should go to number 3, which would be the high traffic areas through our county. I think the cost when you're looking at basically $7,500 for two signs. A location with 2 signs, frontwards and backwards, wherever we're going to put them. I think we should do that. We get calls about Coral Farms Road. We get calls about 310. We get calls about, and our deputies can't be everywhere there. Even if they live on those roads, they can't be there. So I think it behooves us to take a step. I think this is the first step. But I do think that we should be looking at in the future, and I will commit to this, using some of my money. If it's a lot of pull on those monies because we promised a lot to other areas. But truly, I think this is just a good step in the right direction, and I don't think it's the final step. I think it's just one of the steps that we get where we're going to. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
If I can add to that, another nice thing about these feedback signs, they have a cloud account. It's free for the first year, and then it would be something that we would need to pay a subscription to every year. But it will give us a downloadable data to give to the sheriff's office to say, hey, during these times,
We're having issues.
people they're flying. And
Right.
so now, because Gator can't send them just 24/7 out to any location, but if we can say on Coral Farms Road at this location during these times people are flying, well then he can go out there during those times and have a bigger impact.
So do we program them for the school zones? Because this discussion today is about the school zones. Do we program them? How do we make sure that they're only flashing?
Yeah, they're
during the
programmable.
school zone.
They're programmable
School
for the
time.
school zone during those school zone times.
Okay, all right. And then I do want to say a couple things. Well, let me ask you another question. We had our last meeting, and I think it got portrayed that we were looking for a fight with the school district, and we're really not.
Right.
We weren't picking on the school district. We were truly had people coming in front of us and continue to come in front of us about concerns about a road. And we're trying to find a solution. That's what we were doing. We were not, despite what some people said in the newspaper, that's not what we were doing. We weren't picking a fight. What we're trying to do is come up with solutions. And so what I want to say is, since that time, I've learned some things. So when we talked about, I had made a suggestion at the last board meeting about putting in a sidewalk on Horseman's Club Road. But now I've understood they don't want walkers. They're not going to have walkers.
Correct.
Do you have any more information on that?
Yeah, so from their onset of their construction for the school and Horseman Club, they've not planned for any walkers. Normally, they don't provide transportation for students that are outside of the 2-mile radius from a school zone. But because of the location, Horseman Club Road, no sidewalks, they've planned on no walkers, and so they're gonna provide transportation inside the 2-mile mark.
Which that's big, because, you know, we were trying to come up with a solution of putting a sidewalk down and maybe getting some funding, but it doesn't sound like that's necessarily needed for
Correct.
the school,
Right.
you know, for the school. And so this is.
That's a big step for them, because unless things have changed with my experience in the school system, they don't get funding inside the 2-mile radius. They only
Okay.
get funding outside.
Mhm.
So they're gonna have to really work with their budget, because that's a big hit.
Right, and so we'll just go ahead and say publicly that we did receive a traffic analysis. So, we were misstated in our comments, so I'll, on behalf of the board, will apologize, publicly about that. We didn't know we had it, so there's that. Any other comments or any other new information you found? Have you seen how they're handling the traffic that's gonna be on that road?
Yeah, so they've got a left-hand turn lane coming from 20, and a right-hand turn lane coming from 19 to get into the school. And those 2 lanes are gonna run beside each other, so that you have 2 lanes of traffic going in to parent pickup and drop-off. That once they get up to the sidewalk, will merge into one. But during drop-off and pickup times, when cars are leaving, it's a right-hand turn only coming out of the school.
So when it turns right, it's going out to 20, okay.
Yep, and that will, we helped Mosley do that a couple years ago, put some signs up for them, and it made their ingress egress speed up. The same thing at Palatka High off of Mellon Road, getting onto St. John's Avenue is a right turn only, and that really speeds up the traffic.
Okay. All right, well, if you'll just, you know, let the school know as you're having conversations about the traffic on that road, if they're reaching out to you, we're looking for solutions. That's what, all we were trying to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Pelletier, you're recognized.
Again, to reiterate what you said, Commissioner Wilkerson, we're not picking a fight with school. We're not pointing the finger at anybody. All we're trying to do is promote kids' safety. That's all we're, and motorists as well. But that's the whole point of this whole thing, is just make it safe for us to get those kids in and out of that school. And I myself have never seen a school that didn't have walkers. I'm sorry. I just don't
I know,
care.
it's strange, isn't it?
I can't hardly believe that's not gonna happen, that they're gonna go back and go, hey, we need to put in some sidewalks, because there's gonna be kids that will go home with their buddies and cut through the woods and all that. That's been going on for hundreds of years, and I don't see it changing. So, anyhow, the whole point is make it safe for the kids and everybody getting in and out of there, regardless. That's the whole point of anything. So.
And as you see needs, if you see a need, come back if you have a suggestion of anything we could help with.
Yep.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
I see Crescent City Elementary isn't in here. That one's getting done just through other means, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
They've got their school zone, and we're looking at the 35 mile an hour, or the feedback signs for Crescent City as well.
Okay.
But I'm glad you brought it up.
Yep.
If I may just interject on that. Starting Monday, June 1st, Union and 308 will be a 4-way stop. We've got the signs out there letting the public know that there will be a traffic pattern change starting Monday, June 1st. And then we're hoping by the start of school that we will have all 4 of those stop signs with the flashers, so that it stands out. Because, I mean, if you're not familiar with that area, people fly down 308, and we just need to make sure that during the summer they learn that that's a 4-way stop before school starts. So that's why that'll be a 4-way starting June 1st.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
I just want to say thank you for getting this back to us so quickly. As far as implementation on this, will these be ready to go for next school year, all of these?
Yeah, it'll be a priority for over the summer.
Cool.
It just depends. The only thing that will hold us back is delivery.
Sure,
Shipping.
sure. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, one last question. Are these solar?
Yes.
So when there's,
Have to upgrade some of the solar panels on the current school beacons that are out there. And that might be something that I have to come back to the board for funding. But that, JR and I will talk about that, and we'll figure that out.
because one of the challenges that we all see with solar is sometimes when you have a lot of cloud coverage, they don't quite flash as much as they should or bright as they should, or they stop altogether because of the cloud coverage. So
What we do have, what I have noticed and of course, you and I in Barton, we see how it slows down sometimes with those
Yes, sir.
solars. The school zones are wide open.
yeah,
Yeah, and it really is only the cloudy days that cause any issues for the school zones. Other than that, there's no tree cover, so that helps us.
right. And since we brought up Barden, and we'll get back to this, did you change the batteries out there? On the
They
barn one?
did the one on the westbound on 100. Our next stop is the eastbound side.
Okay, all right. All right, back to the board. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to move approval of the $75,580 taken out of general fund reserve to fund this project.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any further discussion or comments? Yes, ma'am.
Discussion, it should be transportation reserves.
Should be transportation reserves.
Transportation reserves funded by general fund anyway, but yes, transportation reserve.
No, so we are
It's
not
fine,
gonna
it's
hold-
fine.
Okay.
Transportation reserve, thank you.
I amend my second.
Very good. All right, so, transportation reserve. All right, any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have code enforcement.
Madam Chair, is anybody here for that codes case? Seeing no one here, Madam Chair, I'd like
Hey,
to.
Larry.
Oh, yeah, but that's the lady.
That's our codes person.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move that we take staff recommendation on codes case 2010-00982, reduction of $140,119 down to 2,198 days if paid within 90 days.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion, a second. Is there any further discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Great, thank you.
Thank you, Darcy, for this
All
great
right.
presentation.
Public comment. This is public comment on miscellaneous items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It's not reasonably expected the board will engage in debate or deliberation about matters on which the board has received no prior information as part of the agenda. Please limit your time to 3 minutes. Public comment cards are conveniently placed on the meeting room entrance and should be submitted prior to the meeting to the deputy clerk who sits to the right of the podium. If you haven't filled out a card and you wish to speak, please let our deputy clerk know or wave your hand whenever we get to public comment time.
This is from earlier.
Oh, thank you. No, I haven't,
He's gone.
I never got that, okay. Dan Hogsett, Shuff? That was for the community center, okay. All right, thank you. Mr. David Wade. Sure. You just hand them to the clerk and she'll hand them out while you're getting set up.
Thank you.
Okay, you ready to go?
Yes, sir. State your name and address real quick.
David Wade, 1270 Coral Farms Road, citizen of Putnam County for more than 75 years. In fact, I'm looking at the board, and I've known 3 of you people personally, and fortunate to say I've met and know all 3 of those people's fathers. So I'm kind of aging myself here. But being a resident as I have, moving out to Coral Farms Road to get away from the city, and been there for 5 years. I'm looking at saving Coral Farms as a residential road, limited to thoroughfare. What is Coral Farms Road? Coral Farms Road is 5 miles of single lane, minimum width blacktop with minimum, not supportive, nor designed for semi-truck traffic. Residents except we've got several semi-truck owners that live on the road. No pass double lines, limited if any shoulder for pull-off connects the highway to 100 Bellamy Road, Sun Gardens, and is commonly used by commercial trucks as a shortcut. to reach Highway 21, Middleburg, Orange Park, and Jacksonville. Now back to Coral Farms Road. With seldom a herd adhered to a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit, this scenic road is frequently traveled by wildlife, including but not limited to deer, bear, turkey, small other critters. On its east side, protected by game preserve. On its northern side is between beautiful farmland and hideous solar panels, I'm ashamed to say. But it's there for bikers alike, and our population has grown for as many as 12 new residential homes, while traffic has increased. Those 12 residential homes were built this last year by outside the county contractors.
How many did you say?
12.
Oh, okay.
Which increases our population and demand on school pickups and so forth. Traffic has substantially increased because of that, substantially including school buses. Roadside children are subject to this request, and limited trucks through traffic, including the most recent of semi-pulled dump trucks. As many as 30 trips per day has been counted for the past 2 weeks. Only last week, starting at 7:30 a.m. to 8:45 p.m., our noted convoys in threes is not unusual, shaking the very beautiful earth, in addition to the use of the J-brake, which, where I live, 5 miles from Highway 20, I live just before Bellamy Road, and there are considerable violations of 45-mile-an-hour speed limit is not unusual. This morning, for example, starting at 6:15 a.m., there were 6 trucks from 6:15 a.m. To 7:10 p.m. a.m. that came by going that way. These trucks weigh 80,000 pounds. 80,000 pounds, these trucks. The pictures that I've shown you are here. This is what we've got that frequent our road. Our road is not set up for this. It's set up, if you look at the measurement on the tandem assembly on these trucks, there's only 3 inches of road clearance from the center line to the outside line. 3 inches of clearance on each side. That means you've got to have a special driver, and there's not too many special dump truck drivers in today's world. They work on, if you will, how many loads I can get, and we're looking at basically 25 to 30 loads per day. I might mention to you, last year the commission was notified of a company that wanted to do some mining on and use Coral Farm Road, and all this was discussed, and dump trucks were at issue then. I don't know what happened to that mining operation, but I won't bring it up. With a matter of fact, these trucks are not mining from Coral Farms. They're mining from down the road in other places, using Coral Farms Road as a bypass to get to their delivery spots and so forth. In addition, law enforcement finds there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. They've asked them to slow down, but they just don't slow down. They've got to get their work done, and so they start early and work late and drive fast. We've got school buses and school children lined up down the road, and we're just asking for something to happen. The road, if you've been out there, has no way to pull off. The children have to get close to the road or on somebody's driveway to be even picked up. It's not a safe situation. When you've got 2 trucks of this size, and again, I'll pass this, if permitted, to JR, who's familiar with roads, it seems like, and he knows the situation, as I heard him talk earlier about road width and subdivisions. This road width is not even in the subdivision venue. The road from line to line for where you put your vehicle is only 130 inches or 8'6". Now, these vehicles are 8 foot to the road, to the outside tire. And so it's not a very good situation at all.
Mr. Wade, I need you to sort of try to wrap this up, please.
Okay. What I'm looking here for is to make this a residential road for no trucks only except for deliveries, and for the owners of people who do have trucks and need to get to and from work, to use this road as a commercial shortcut for money from people that are not even in this county, I don't think is right. I'm looking at having the speed reduction, as little as it might matter, changed from 45 miles per hour, which is very fictitious to drivers even by small trucks, to 60 and 70 miles an hour, but reducing the signs to 40 mile an hour. That will make the Sheriff's Department be able to award some tickets to violators, trucks included. My truck out there, I've got 2 trucks, one 1-ton truck and just a passenger truck. Both of them have got broke mirrors from intersecting with other trucks. Now I'm looking at these 80,000 pound trucks, one passing the other with speeds that are maybe 50 miles an hour to be safe and sane. If there's a mistake done by either one of them, you're looking at a 100 mile an hour impact. And school buses are in that same vicinity full of children. It's just not a good situation.
All right, thank you.
So I'm looking at maybe some stop strips coming on Bellamy off of Coral Farms, where they won't have to J-brake and slide their brakes and attempt to go off the road. We just need some help down there. This is a residential road and committed by the county and the county building inspector. Something needs to be done because it's ever growing and it's not going to stop.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
I asked Mr. Stout if he had give us any kind of parameters on that road about weights and limits and that type thing. Anything he could shed light on, if he would come forward and do that for us at this time, if that's okay.
Sure.
Coral Farms Road, you know, if we ever did do a project out there for resurfacing, I would recommend widening the road, just like we are with Palmetto Bluff and some other roads that we've done. That would be a good idea, but as the current road stands, there is no weight limit restriction on that road. And the company that he mentioned earlier, Krebs Land Development, wanted to do mining out there. They may come back and want to do that again, but the question was brought up, could that road handle the dump trucks on that road? And so Krebs Land Development actually went out and did core samples of Coral Farms Road and found that it would handle all of the weights that they would be doing with their dump trucks. So it is set up to handle that weight, but there are no weight restrictions on the road at this time.
All right, thank you. No, sir, we're not going to deliberate. We're not going to debate this. We're going to have discussion among the board. Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think this road is in my district, no doubt, and it's always had issues out there. I think what we need to do is come back another date and let Public Works make any recommendations that you feel we need to make. I do agree that residential, but you have to have an ag component to that road because agricultural does take place out in that area. But you know, people are going to find the path of least resistance. There's no doubt about it. And if they don't get a ticket, they're going to speed. But we're seeing more residential aspect up on, well, down by the Bellamy Road side, and we're seeing it more up on the 100 side now than we have in the past. Usually there has been some logging operations right there off of 100, but now it's housing. So we're seeing some changes taking place, but there's still a big ag component. So what I would like to see is, instead of us trying to debate all the time, is for Public Works to hear and make any recommendations you would like to make at a future meeting. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As far as comparisons go, the width of this road and Barden Road, they're pretty much the same
Yes.
size, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and thank you for bringing that up, because we have, obviously, we have for many years had log trucks, and now we have sand trucks the same way.
Yep.
The ditches are deeper, I will say, on Coral Farms Road than they are on Barden Road, but yes, there's no shoulder, it's the same, very similar.
Right, yeah, I have family that lives on both, so I just wanted to make sure that we were dealing with the same thing, so, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Commissioner Pelletier, you're recognized.
I also reached out to Under Sheriff Blunt about this, and he said they had got some calls and they had looked into it, but that he would put an email out to those deputies working that time of day. I would suggest possibly you two get together and you can give him maybe some prime hunting hours to be out there, to be ready with their pen and ticket book to possibly see if they, it won't take much of that, and I think your problem should go away.
I also think that, Commissioner Pelletier, I also think that the challenge that we have is you have bona fide businesses out there. You have bona fide farms, you have vineyards. But I think what Mr. Wade is referring to is the ones who don't have businesses out there that are just trying to, and I don't know how you I don't know how you figure out which truck until you stop it has what business to do out there. But I don't think there's a sand mine out there at this time.
My theory is speeding is speeding. It doesn't matter whose truck it is.
That's true. You're exactly right on that. Speeding is speeding.
Real quick.
Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Wade, Mr. Wade, the chair said that we were going to debate this amongst ourselves. Could give us just a minute before we had any more comments. Thank you. No, we had an issue recently on East End Road, and Under Sheriff Blunt was nice enough to dispatch one of the radar trailers that I purchased last year with my discretionary funds. No more complaints.
Okay.
No more complaints. So it
Yeah.
might be an idea just so we can put it out there for Mr. Wade. And it does have a camera. It can tell us when the prime times are for the speeding, and that allows us for better delegation of resources from the sheriff's office.
All right. All right. Sounds like we're going to do a little bit more research on that. Thank you. Cynthia Locke. Good morning. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Cynthia Locke. I'm at 109 Rodman Lane. I've been living at that address for, I think, over 40 years now. But I'm here to advocate the inclusion of the legal term plainly audible standard into the Putnam County Noise Ordinance. Now, currently, we are experiencing a persistent noise disturbance after county work hours from a neighbor whose property abuts to ours. Despite multiple calls to the Putnam County Sheriff's Office and visits from officers, the issue continues because the responding officer has no authority to enforce codes. The plainly audible standard allows an officer to cite an offender if the noise is clearly detectable at a specific distance, typically 25 feet, from the property line without the aid of a meter. This standard is successfully utilized in Wharton and Orange County in Florida to protect the health, safety, and welfare of residents, and it is upheld in courts. By implementing this authority would provide officers with a practical standard to issue warnings or citations during their first response. I believe this would significantly reduce repeat calls to the Putnam County Sheriff's Office and site visits while protecting our environment and property values as our rural residential lifestyle continues to grow here in Putnam County. I appreciate your consideration of this proposal to improve our local code enforcement. I do have a codes case currently against this neighbor. I don't understand how it all works. I have to just keep calling the Putnam County Sheriff's officers, and when they have the time to respond, sometimes they can't come out because it's you know, they've got other things to do. But they have been out twice. So I'm just going to have to keep calling. This just, none of it makes any sense to me how to resolve the problem. That's the issue. So it's a noise nuisance. It's occurring after work hours, so the county code officer cannot come to our home. So can just call the sheriff's department, and they have no ability to do anything. So just to say to the property owner to turn the music down, and of course when they leave, they turn it right back up. So we're back to square one again. So what am I to do? How am I supposed to solve this solution? Or is the county going to solve it for me? Or do I have to go get an attorney and do a state nuisance lawsuit? I mean, I've lived here for 40 years. My county can't protect me.
So you're asking for a change in the
Code ordinance
code ordinance, so
for noise.
for noise. So you want
For it to say that an officer can plainly, audibly come to my home, hear what we're hearing at a 25-foot distance, and he can cite the residents. It's just plainly that simple. And therefore, he can warn the residents, he can cite them, give them a citation. That process could go to codes. If he goes out there again, codes can fine him, if that's the way y'all want to do it or set it up. But I don't know what else to do.
Okay.
I feel awful trying to, call the sheriff's department this is every day. So I have to call, when it's loud. We can't enjoy our property use. If I had children, I wouldn't want them to hear what I'm hearing out in the yard when we're trying to enjoy our outdoor space.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just don't know what to do. I don't know what the method or the protocol is from the county's perspective, how to solve my solution with the code ordinance.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Sure, go ahead.
Mr. Commando, could you give us any light on this, how this reads and what our...
Plainly audible.
So the plainly audible standard, as it was used by local governments, including municipalities and counties, has been held unconstitutional through various legal challenges. The Florida legislature reintroduced the plainly audible standard, but you'll notice it's no longer something under Chapter 125, which is what governs us. It's now under 316, which is the motor vehicle operation. So the legislature moved it back in for noise that is emanating from a vehicle, which is radio or vehicle noise, so that the sheriff's office already has the ability to enforce that as part of the traffic enforcement statute. I don't believe it would be legally permissible for a county to introduce the plainly audible standard. Now, under our Article 7 of amplified sound, we do have decibel sounds that do match what would be considered illegal by way of our code of ordinances. We also define a noise control officer, and the noise control officer includes the sheriff's office. So at a time when the code enforcement officer is not working, present, or able to come out, the sheriff's officer can enforce that portion of our code.
They are the enforcement body of your government. Yes, sir, thank you. Are you done?
Well, I wanted to, do we have a device? Or does the sheriff's office, or do we, or Mr. Alexander over there has raised his finger? I yield the floor to him.
Okay.
I did a little research on this a while back and talked to the undersheriff and the sheriff. So we have had devices in place. Those devices have fallen out of calibration, and the officers that had been trained on the operation of those devices have either moved on or their certification has lapsed. Just because at that point there wasn't enough justification to maintain those machines or the certifications for the officers. That's something that we could potentially talk to the sheriff or the undersheriff about, but that is the current standing with the sheriff's office now.
Okay. All right, thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
There is, so you're saying legally, a law officer cannot come out to my house and listen to what I hear, and then if y'all approved for him to cite the residents?
No, that's not what Mr. Commando said. Mr. Commando said the opposite. He said that the law enforcement officer has the ability to do that. Is that correct?
Right, so under our code, using a sound decibel meter, or if something would violate the traffic enforcement or statute under Chapter 316, then they could conduct an investigation that way.
But we don't have a sound don't want spin output to my home with a sound meter. How do I get somebody to come out to my house with a sound meter?
Does the county own
That
one of
was,
these
that was
devices?
my statement. We don't currently have a
You
calibrated.
can't enforce the
au-
code ordinance, is what you're telling me.
Currently, we do not have the equipment to measure that sound. We as a county.
The sheriff's
The
office.
sheriff's office, which is the enforcement arm, does not currently have that piece of
Okay,
equipment.
so we're a growing community. Our rural residential lifestyle is very important to Putnam County's growth.
Obviously, I understand that,
So-
because that's why I've done the research to tell you where we're at that, at
Okay,
our
so
current
do
juncture.
we have any time that this sound meter or an officer's gonna be trained to, I mean, is there a time frame or?
Ms. Locke, I believe
When-
that Commissioner Alexander just said, after he did his research, that he would get with the sheriff's office on
Okay,
that
I
issue.
thank you for that, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you. All right, is there any other public comment on miscellaneous items? All right, going into Commissioner Committee updates. Do we have any updates, starting with Commissioner Harvey?
I have none, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Alexander?
Just working with the waterways and trails regarding the no-wake ordinance. That's moving along. We've got some verbiage changes on there. Rich and I are going to get together later this week and talk about that.
What was it, though, what?
It's a no-wake ordinance. There's
Oh,
a
the no-wake
blind-
one, yeah, you mentioned before,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so that's really what we got going on there. Working on some stuff in the background with the Ride Solutions program. And I did make another introduction last week to the Putnam Behavioral Health Consortium, which we're not required to participate in, but we do, I participate in
Yes, sir.
at your recommendation. And had a new resident move to Putnam County, Ms. Solano, and I think she's going to be a great contributor to that group.
Oh,
So,
very good.
yep, a couple little updates, and I got a little bit more going on, so we'll go from there. We'll go to commissioner comments.
Yeah, I'm on the Transportation Disadvantage Board, and so it works hand in hand with Ride Solutions.
It does, and there's some information that I would like to share with you. There's 2 grants that we may potentially qualify for coming through FDOT. One is an innovation grant, and another is a technology grant, and hopefully we can secure some funding for the group that you're working with as well as the group that I'm working with, because the way that Putnam County is so spread out, we need a better solution. 'Cause it's going to be difficult to get 30 or 40 people to show up at a bus stop. So they still need to get to the doctor. They still need to get their prescriptions. They still need to get food. So
Yeah.
we need to figure out something on it.
Yeah, thank you for serving on those boards. Commissioner Newbold, you recognized?
I have no committee reports today.
Commissioner Pelletier?
I have nothing.
I have nothing either, other than what I've just mentioned to you. All right, going into appointments, do we have any appointments, starting with Commissioner Harvey?
Madam Chair, I don't have any listed here, but I would like to talk about one that
Okay.
has been approached to me. Beth Payne with the Regional Council, as you know, we get appointed by this board or the governor can appoint. We have a municipality appointment that's been kind of out there for a long, long time. Beth Payne has talked to Michelle Myers, the mayor of Crescent City, and Michelle has willingly contacted, I contacted her by serving on that board at the request of Beth Payne, and she said she'd be willing to serve. So it would be my recommendation that this board puts Michelle Myers, the mayor of Crescent City, because it has to be a municipality located within Putnam County, on the Northeast Florida Regional Council.
And we haven't had any other one that's
We
has
haven't,
been
no,
willing to
ma'am.
step up. All right, we have is that a motion?
It is, yes, ma'am.
Is there a second? Go ahead.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right,
Thank you, Madam Chair, and that's the end of my appointments.
all right, thank you for that. Commissioner Alexander, do you have any appointments?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Commissioner Newbold?
Oh, I'm waiting on a response. I'll have one at our next meeting, I believe, but nothing today.
All right, Commissioner Pelletier?
I have none, but I would like to get with Ms. Young at the end of this and ask some questions.
Okay, and I have none at this time. All right, we will go into Clerk of Courts.
Hey, there he
Good
is.
morning, Commissioner.
morning.
Sorry I was tardy this morning. My daughter graduated kindergarten, so I was having to
Oh,
attend
yay.
that. So congratulations to her.
Congratulations.
And,
They walk the
Thank you.
field at that age, or what do they?
yeah, it was a stage, but yes, sir. Yeah.
Um,
Did you cry?
no.
You should.
She did. She did a little bit. She's gonna miss her. She's gonna miss her her kindergarten teachers. So they
You
did.
cry.
No.
You should have.
Well, I thought about it, but other than that, I'd just like to thank the commissioners for their support. We had a ribbon cutting on May 8th at the new Customer Service Center and the Tim Smith Building, and it went very well. And I thank y'all for those that were able to attend, and we missed those of y'all who couldn't, but it is open and running, and staff's doing a great job. So other than that, I don't have anything. So thank y'all.
And they finished up with the farmer's market.
Yes,
so
last one, yeah.
Last one, so until the fall, I think, until the fall, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All
Mhm.
right, and
Yep.
so now you can get your lawn back in order.
Yeah, yeah. I know the maintenance guys will be happy about that.
Yes, sir. All right, well, thank you for
Yes.
seeing that through. Thank you.
Yes, thank y'all.
All right, County Attorney,
Nothing today, Madam Chair. Thank you.
thank you. County Administrator Suggs.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple things. Just want to give a shout out to what's happening the next couple of weeks. So if you're looking for anything to do in Putnam County, you're blessed this coming Thursday through Sunday, and then next Thursday through Sunday. We have the boys baseball tournament out at Francis. Boys are 600 to 14 under, and they're going to start Thursday evening at 6 p.m., I believe it is, with the championship games on Sunday. And fast forward a week, you're going to have the young ladies in town. They're going to be at Theobald. They're going to be also 6 to 14. I believe we have about 40 teams also registered there as well. So we're getting a lot of folks coming through Putnam County playing in our Parks and Recs division. So the money that you guys have put out there is making this very possible. And if you hadn't been to the parks lately, you ought to go look at Francis for sure.
Yep.
The work out there is phenomenal. Kudos to Chair Wilkinson for using her discretionary funds on the new concession stand and restrooms out there. It's coming along really, really well. So also kudos to Deputy Administrator Young and Grimes for their oversight. They are project managers as well
Yes,
on
they
those
are.
projects, and they are just looking phenomenal out there. So let's pray. I know we need rain, but we need to get these tournaments in as well. It's just a phenomenal opportunity to showcase Putnam County on Parks and Rec. So I encourage all of us to visit the facilities. Thank you.
I think I promised I would get out and work a concession stand at some point, so I gotta schedule that. Any other comments from you, Commissioner?
I understand it's air conditioned, so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, woo, thank goodness. Any other comments? What about the burn ban? Do we want to, can we talk about that real quick? I know we've been traditionally re-upping that.
Yes, ma'am. I spoke with Deputy Administrator Grimes this morning and Chief Back. It's my understanding, and please, Mr. Grimes, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Forestry has reached out as recently as this morning, so they believe we can go ahead and lift the ban at this
Okay.
time, with the understanding that they may come back in the future and ask us to re-implement.
Okay, all right. Can we get everybody okay with that? All right, we're okay with that. Sounds good. I'm sure the residents will like that. I will say that please continue to be careful if you do burn. Please just make sure you're having water out there. Just please be careful. All right, anything else?
No, ma'am, that's all the comments. Thank
All
you.
right, does any of the deputy administrators have anything they'd like to comment on? All right, coming back to the county commission, starting with Commissioner Harvey.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. This is the day of first. I get to start every conversation, so I'm glad about that. I had a wonderful Memorial Day celebration yesterday. A little saddened by, I guess, the attendance out in Interlaken, but I will tell you that I made a mention. I brought greetings from all of us there. I was able to speak and welcome people, but truly the age bracket that we're in and the ones below are not paying attention to what Memorial Day should be about. And it's up to us to bring that home and to try to let them understand what Memorial Day is all about, the men and women who gave their lives, that we can sit here in freedom and not be worried about a gun held to our head or something like that to do something we're not willing to do. But so I want to thank our servicemen and women who paid the ultimate price and their families that did, and we thank them. A Blue Crab was over the weekend, and what a great event that was to promote Putnam County to outside world and to inside. and we appreciate their hard work and dedication to put that on. Friday night, I was invited to go to the West Putnam Sports Association. They gave out the trophies to all the children who played ball out in West Putnam. Truly, it was a great event. I brought greetings from us again in the crowd, and I was able to speak. And I spoke on the fact that you never know about the investment you're making in young people's lives. My youngest daughter, and her husband met on the Harvey Insurance Agency Angels T-ball team, where my wife was the coach, and they're married and 3 kids later. They didn't get married that young, but you never know what takes place. And what we hear in the community is there's nothing for our young people to do, and that is not true. That is not true in this county. You might not want to take them to someplace, but truly there's something for every age bracket of young people in this community to do something instead of just sit at home. And I tell you, there was a tremendous, to watch these kids get their little ribbons and their plaques and their trophies, it's really rewarding to be a part of that. And then I was able to attend the Sister Springs Cemetery dinner for Private First Class Robert Jenkins, where I brought greetings again from us. This is their way of making money to support the cemetery there in Grand and Lake Shores. So truly, you might not see us all together at one place at one time, but we're all representing our areas and our county and the area in Putnam County. And again, if you can't find something to do in this county, you sure ain't looking for it. So thank you, Madam Chair, and those are the end of my comments.
Thank you for representing us. We all get asked to do a lot of things, and we can't be at all the places at one time. So we really do a good job as a board, I think, as dividing and conquering. Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it. I'd like to echo Mr. Harvey's comments regarding the Memorial Day celebration in Palatka. It's important that we show these folks how much we appreciate their sacrifices, and I would like to maybe do something better as far as publicizing the parade, and maybe working with the Blue Crab Festival as it crawls back to prominence. It's doing well. And I remember in years past, the vendors would hang around, and the parade was part of the entire festival. And if we could do something like that, I think that would be great, just to show our appreciation and get more interest in that. We did have a good turnout down there. We did have a good singer, good speaker. It was very touching. So enough with the bad stuff. Good stuff. I would like to give a shout out to my fellow commissioners down at the city. A couple weeks ago, Deputy Young and I spoke about the need for additional fields for these large baseball tournaments that Mr. Suggs just addressed, and how they're growing and how well they're doing. Eventually, we're going to run out of fields and run out of places to play. And I went and presented before the city 2 weeks ago and asked if they would be interested in allowing us to use some of their baseball fields that hadn't been used, with the idea that we could bring life back into some of those communities that aren't seeing those activities for the kids. A lot of the best baseball players that I participated with when I was that age walked or rode their bicycles to practice because their parents were working, and I get that. And, sometimes that's difficult to do out at Francis, but if they can get to practice there, the games are typically at night. So their parents can participate in their lives. They can get them off the phones. They can get them off the couches. We can see some activity in the community at those fields. I know the city made a lot of investments monetarily in those fields in years past. And it's my goal to get the community involved and show a sense of collaboration with our city commissioners and move forward with that. So with that being said, the consensus from the commission is that they would be interested in something like that. Before we invested a bunch of time on staff's part to determine if it was a worthwhile endeavor, I wanted to see if they were even interested in it. And every one of them that I've spoken to has said that they are and would like staff and their staff to collaborate. So I think that Ms. Young and I are going to work on an agreement of sort to present to them and maybe tweak it a little bit. But again, the premise of this is so that we will promote collaboration, not only with the children and the communities, but also with the county commission and the city commission. And I really look forward to that.
I agree.
Can I ask some questions about that? I love your enthusiasm on this and where your goal, but I'm a little confused about the whole thing. I watched when you presented at the city, and I really appreciate that. And I went and I looked at all the fields. You had mentioned 3 at the Shawbuck, Forrester, and Fred Green. And I went and looked at all of them. They all seem to be in pretty good shape. The city, I spoke with the mayor. The city's been investing in their parks. It sounded like when you talked to the commission, you didn't specifically name those 3. You were just generally speaking, which is fine. But I don't really understand what's the goal here? I mean, because they have money in their budget. They have $500,000 in their budget.
Correct.
And they are making significant upgrades to their parks, and their parks are really ready to be used.
Exactly.
And then, so if we're talking about a user group, then why isn't the user group just working direct? Why is the county got to get involved, I guess is my question. Why wouldn't those user groups just go to the city and say, hey, we want to use your ball fields? So that's where I'm not understanding
the attempt has been made, and even when I was coaching, to try and get involvement with that, and it always seems to stumble and fall on its face. Those parks are there, they're making the physical investment, but they've been unable to maintain a solid central user group through this city so that those fields are used. So we need other fields during events like this, and perhaps that can promote additional interest, and it's at no cost to us.
So you're thinking we would be like the conduit for some
Correct.
of these user groups, that if they want to use the city fields, they would go through the county, who would then go to the city?
That, or like when we have a large tournament like this, when we would attend tournaments in Georgia, eventually your tournaments grow to a point that you only have so many days in a weekend or so many hours in a day. And we participated in games where we would be playing until 12 or 1 or 2 in the morning. And that's just brutal. But if we had additional fields that were in reserve, that we had an existing agreement with the city that they could use some of those ancillary fields for overflow, it would greatly streamline that program, and we wouldn't have these kids up until 2 and 3 in the morning.
And so most of the fields that, actually all except for one that I visited, I mean, I went to other than Booker, the rest of them are all single fields.
Correct.
They're not they're not like our sports complex that we have in Francis or Theobald.
Yep.
So
That was the old thought process, that you would have fields within each little community and to be a singular field. And
yeah, 'cause usually they were community, I mean, when I grew up, you'd go walk to a field and everybody in the community go, hey, let's go play ball at 6 o'clock, right?
Right, and just trying to create interest in those little regional fields or, city community fields, so we can get some activity. The city continues to make investments in those fields, and they're not used. But if we can start the ball rolling by allowing some of these tournaments to participate there, we can get some of the kids from the community to even recognize the fields are there. They might not even know that they're available for use. So
Okay.
it's just.
I'm just trying to understand what the goal is here, because I mean, again, like I said, they're good fields. They've got money in their budget. They've got a whole staff. I mean, I don't mind sharing, but and them sharing for us and us collaborating, but you're identifying something that I haven't really had anybody say to me there's an issue, I guess, is why I'm bringing that up.
Yeah, my goal is just to get the children involved in those areas that may not have the opportunity to travel to other fields.
I love your goal.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand what our role is, that's all.
Yeah, so we're not going to be taking over any of the assets as far as the cost or the maintenance. Eddie and I had talked about that. We are there maybe to provide some intelligence regarding the turf care and stuff like that, but we're not providing any physical assets, any physical costs. But it's just an opportunity to try and get the ball moving on these fields and get them used and get those kids involved in the area.
Okay, I just wanted some clarity on
Oh,
that.
yeah,
'cause
absolutely,
it was a
absolutely.
little
Yeah,
confusing
and-
on my end.
Right, and if there were any costs associated with it, those would be the first things to be addressed. But this is just the framework to try and figure out how these fields that are lying dormant, they are an asset but they're a wasted asset because they're not being used.
I mean, they're nice. I mean, they're decent. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
usable.
yeah.
They're
So
not, I
how
mean, the
can we-
backstops are good. I mean, I looked at everything. The
Yeah, how
fences
can
are
we get these
good.
kids out here to use them? So we've got to create an interest in the fields themselves, and hopefully down the road, maybe the city's growth will grow so that they can have their own inner city play. But right now, the interest doesn't seem to exist. So I think
Gotcha.
that the core of that is creating that interest and driving the kids out of the houses into playing on the fields.
Okay, I gotcha.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on that? All right. Commissioner Newbold, you're recognized.
I just have a few updates on some happenings in District 1. I guess last week, the city of Palatka did their ribbon cutting on a new wastewater treatment facility, which is going to be a nice asset and aid in the growth of Palatka. Pomona Park had a Founder's Day celebration, which was well attended, and just a nice kind of celebration of their history and where they're going, where they're moving forward. Crescent City's management had a celebration of their Public Works Department. They roasted a whole hog and did a covered dish and just had a nice celebration of their folk. It's nice to see those municipalities thriving and doing well. So it was a nice little view of District 1. So I really don't have anything else.
And did I see you went to the Yupon Brothers business after hours?
Yeah, I did. I forgot about that. The Chamber did their after hours at Yopon Brothers, which is a tea production company in Crescent City. There were, I drove up a few minutes late coming from another meeting, and there were 35 cars out there, and they had live music and just a nice presentation, just showcasing that venue, which they do little get-togethers, weddings and parties and open mic nights. And we're creating a venue, but they are also a legitimate ag operation that's been in, I think it is the longest standing continuously used organic farm in Florida.
Mhm.
So it's a unique space, and they're doing neat stuff there. The folks are engaged in the community. They had representatives up at Rural County today in Tallahassee. They're anyway, they're turning into a great community asset.
Mhm.
So, yeah, thanks.
Very good. Yeah, thank you. Commissioner Palacio, you're recognized.
Thank the Lord for the rain. I don't remember what day it rained, but I got an extremely hard one for about 50 minutes that I sat on my front porch and just took it in. I hadn't heard that in so long, and it sounded so good. I understand we have 30 and 40% today and 50 and 60% for the rest of the week till Monday. So I think we've got a pretty good shot at maybe picking up some levels there. I, too, attended the Memorial Day celebration down at the waterfront, honoring Staff Sergeant Warren. He stood up and gave a testimonial that was very moving about his career in the military and how he moved up and advanced, and the stories he told about being in Hiroshima. I think he said 7 years thereafter. It was very moving. On a sad note, and not beating up our school system, but beating up the school system as a whole, because I understand this comes from Tallahassee. I was with my daughter, it's been some years ago, and it happened to be December the 7th, and I mentioned that date to her, and it meant nothing to her. And I was saddened to know that, and I started telling the story, and she said, "We never learned any of that in school." And that just broke my heart. I said, we might not be riding down this road right now doing what we're doing had the results of that not went our way. And I just think it's sad that our young people are not learning those things, because it was a decent turnout, but it wasn't the turnout that it should have been on the waterfront yesterday. So I'm very saddened about that part of it, because our youth just does not know, and that's the reason it's so important that we don't lose our history and keep telling our kids our history, or we're doomed to repeat our history. I'm very, very passionate about that, as y'all learn as you keep me around here very much longer. Anyhow, I'm looking forward to the rain. I want to go home, sit on my front porch, and kick my heels up and listen some more, because I could smell it. That's how good it was. But other than that, I have nothing else to add for today.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I have some questions for staff, and then, of course, I have some good comments. But I a couple things. DB Civil offer on the business park property. What happened with that? Because we had that, can we even discuss that? Now, we might not be able to discuss that because we're not in a port meeting. I'm sorry, I probably am not allowed to bring that up, am I? Okay, all right.
Staff made the proposal as directed by the board, and we have not heard back from DB Civil on if they are going to accept it.
Okay, all right, thank you. And then I'm going to just talk about something that a lot of people have mentioned, and we just got to take this bull by the horn. Let's talk about the gazebo at the courthouse. So I know it's 11 o'clock. We all want to go to lunch, but let's just have let's just have this discussion. So the gazebo's been brought up for quite a few times, and it is, you know, there's a piece of the roof that's coming off. It looks terrible, and so the question comes: what do we want to do as a board? And so this is to my colleagues. What do we want to do? I know that a few years ago, I think maybe just a couple years ago, that you guys as staff looked at it, and there was some lead-based paint concerns, and I don't know what we do about that. And so the question becomes, do we try to repair it? I mean, we just can't, in my opinion, we just can't keep ignoring that it's there and it's ugly and it's a problem. We have to make a decision. We have to make a decision as a board. Are we fixing it? Are we tearing it down and building a new one? And the answer can't be we're just going to keep it like it is. That's my opinion. So I'm just throwing it out there for discussion. Before I see Commissioner's buttons lit up. Before I do, I just want to confirm with staff, did we receive a report saying that there was some lead-based paint there?
Yes, ma'am. There is lead-based paint. We've reached out to 2 vendors last week to get some quotes back on what it would take to repair it. Just haven't got them back with the holiday. I was hoping to have them today. I talked to them, I think it was Friday. They told me they'd have it to me by today. So one vendor said they'd have it back today. The other vendor said it would take them a few days to get everything down there, get it measured out, and get us a quote.
Just trying to get an idea.
But,
and it needs more than just painting, right?
It does. It's got some rotten woods. It's got some rotten handrails. It's got some rotten boards on the floor. It needs quite an extensive undertaking to put it back in what I want to call usable condition. So, I mean, it does have some probably good bones in it along the way, but, I mean, we just need to know how you guys want us to move forward with it.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Harvey, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On my 505 public hearing, I have that written down.
Okay, well.
That's something I wanted to discuss, but I do want to say I think it's important. 2 things are important at the courthouse. Number one, we have a beautiful courthouse, and people go by there hundreds and thousands of times a day if you look at the traffic that's out there now. So I think us investing back in the gazebo would be very, very beneficial. Painting, fixing the wood, fixing the roof, I think that's a big part of it. And the parking lot. I think we've got to have a discussion about cleaning that up, maybe resealing that, restriping it, and getting that to be it needs to be, with the lighting that goes on there now, I think we need to really showcase our courthouse here in the county. Tonight we're going to see that we're going to have some true up money that's going to be able to come into play. And that's why I had it on my agenda for tonight. But truly, I think it's time for us to invest in those projects at the courthouse. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Palatka, you're recognized.
I agree with Commissioner Harvey, but one thing I want to state for everyone to know, it is not this board or this staff's fault of lead paint. We had nothing to do with it. It was done prior to our time, but this board is going to fix it. So I don't want anybody to hang the noose of death on anybody's neck about, oh, they've got lead paint and they put lead paint. We didn't do anything. Us, staff, no one. This is done years ago by Lord knows who, before anybody knew anything about lead paint. So anyhow, but we know there's a problem. We're going to fix the problem. That's the end of that story. But I agree with Commissioner Harvey. I think you know, once it's properly disposed of and we do the proper repairs, we'll have a beautiful building, not a building, a gazebo to display. And I I think we ought to put a tote board out there for everybody that's ever been married there, not divorced or anything, but married. So, because I've passed by there before and seen a bunch of people getting married. Mr. Reynolds, have you performed any under that structure?
We've done several out there, but it's been several years since we've
Well, we need to
actually
get it in
performed
good
any
condition for that, in my opinion.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm done.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Staff, what direction have you guys been given regarding this facility? Just get quotes to fix it?
Because we had a couple commissioners reach out to us last week with concerns of the gazebo, so we reached out to some vendors to see if anybody would take the project on and just try to get some quotes of fixing the dilapidated wood and the roof and remediating the lead-based paint.
Okay.
That's as far as we've moved so far. We haven't really been given any direction from anybody. We just had some people call with some concern.
Yeah, so, yeah, we talk about stuff and, get stuff started, but, I'd like to move forward with providing them some direction, as to either repairing what we got, tearing it down and building a new one, or just tearing it down. Give us 3 options, and that way we can move forward.
All right. Commissioner Newbold.
While the light's shining on the courthouse, we have a lot more activity down in that space, and this is the first I've heard of any parking lot repairs. But I got to tell you, that space, it looks sad landscaping wise. We have our farmers market there all the time now, and in the meantime, I drive by and just see a sad state of landscape in that space. I don't know if there's any reviving what we've got. I need to spend a little more time with someone to see if it can be rehabbed. But if we are going to really polish up that space, going to have a new gazebo, going to have any parking lot improvements, we need to address the landscaping at the same time. So
All right.
anyway, just to throw one more thing in,
Just
in,
throw
the,
a
in the
little
lap
bit more
there.
on the layer of issues. All right. Mr. Grimes, you're recognized.
Yeah, if we're going to talk about it, just another thought is we're always out of parking at the courthouse as well. And those islands are hard to maintain. Is it something we want to look at? Just throwing an idea out. So do we want to look at just making that all parking lot and redoing the landscape feel down there with the landscape is already in bad shape it is, and creating more parking places, that parking area? Just an idea.
No, that's not a bad idea.
Because I know every time I go to the courthouse, you're always looking for a place to park, right? And I'm sure Mr. Reynolds, as his staff grows, it's really difficult to find. I'm not saying we don't need to do some landscaping at the courthouse, don't get me wrong, but sometimes those islands are a little bit difficult to navigate and keep maintained and keep irrigation in them and keep the upkeep to those islands. Maybe something that's a little bit more maintenance, less maintenance in those our islands. If we need an island, create one big island, something, because there's a lot of multiple islands around there, and it's just something Mr. Reynolds could be thinking about over the next couple of weeks to, where everybody's kind of thought was on it.
Yeah, I would like for you to weigh in on that as well, because what are those trees that are in those islands? Is that the one that Mr. Mr. Futch reached out to us on? Okay.
Yeah, there are several trees in the islands, in the parking lot. One of them's somewhat kind of larger tree. It's not all that big, but I think it's a type of oak that's out there in one of the islands. But Mr. Grimes is right. There's often not a lot of parking there on heavy traffic days whenever we have a lot of court or it's a jury morning. There's a lot of people looking all over the streets all around there for parking.
Yeah, yeah, I don't disagree. All right, thank you. Commissioner Alexander. I'm sorry, y'all, I had to rip the Band-Aid off on this, but we need to have this discussion.
No, I'm good with that. We get to meet, twice a month, so we need to cover as much ground as we can.
Sir.
There's a couple of us that could use to miss a meal anyhow, myself included. We each have a different skill set, and I've talked about that a number of times up here. And I really appreciate Commissioner Newbold making the statement about the greenery and the foliage around the courthouse. And if you would be interested, JR, would you like to provide input on that and work with staff as far as that goes? You know more about that than any of us.
Is that your thing?
Well, I'd be happy to give input and provide a little bit of direction, but
not throwing another project at you, but you know that industry.
That's fine. I'd be happy to lend what little bit I know there. But anyway, I'd love to work with JR or whoever the person is to try to improve that situation. And a complete redesign, it's a great idea at the time. It looks good on paper to have all that green, but it's terribly inefficient when it comes to the use of the space.
Yep.
So there are other options that could come out looking very attractive and be more efficient. So I'd be
And
happy to help.
before I yield the floor, did we do anything with the eave on the courthouse that's rotten and falling down?
I haven't heard of that.
Is that the one you texted us about? Yeah, Tim White went out there that day, as far as I know, and got it repaired.
Did we get it?
I have not seen it myself, but I'll
Looked at it
double
either.
check and.
I'll
I'm
follow
sure-
up with him. I sent it to him, he said he was on his way. That's the last thing I'd heard on it.
Yeah, well, normally that's how it happens, you guys, if I send you something, so I was just following up. I wasn't double checking behind you.
Yeah, I mean, I just had to follow with Tim. I mean, I sent it to him immediately, and he said he was on his way.
Cool. All right, thank you very much.
Sometimes I sit in the middle, look like I'm watching a ball game back and forth. Commissioner Palacio, you're recognized.
You know, parking down there is a very valuable commodity on days y'all have court and one thing or another. I would not be opposed to having Mr. Knowles look, and I guess this is his field of expertise. Those islands, to me, serve no purpose. If he can gain any kind of parking at all, do away with the islands and make nothing but parking lot totally. If it was a way that would, if he could be drawn and we gain 5 or 6 spots, who knows? I don't have any clue.
Might even be more than that.
Pardon?
Might even be more than that.
Might be more than that. I don't know, but I think it's worth looking into because we'll donate those shrubs to the Futches donated to another worthy cause or put them somewhere else on the property, whatever the case may be. But just a thought.
And I think, thank you. I appreciate the discussion, y'all. You know, it never makes sense to me to have trees in the middle of a parking lot because I think tree roots end up breaking up asphalt, but you know, I'm just a girl from Barden, what do I know? But I do know roots go underground and they push up asphalt, but that, anyway, what I don't want to happen is, please, Palatka Daily News, do not report in the newspaper tomorrow that we decided we're taking down the gazebo. That's not what we said. What we said was we are going to look into the condition of the gazebo, I believe, and ask staff to come back with a couple ideas of what we can do either with the gazebo or looking at everything in a holistic approach and see what options are on the table. So I don't want anybody to get I don't want a room full of people next board meeting saying keep the gazebo signs up.
Yeah.
So I don't want that. Commissioner Alexander, you're recognized.
I'm trying to do better at using the button and not just
okay.
interjecting. But
Thank you.
yes, that is not our intent to tear down the gazebo, but instead of bringing back one solution that we can't all agree on, then we have to go back and send for another solution and then another solution. We're 6 weeks out at the end of that. I am not a fan of kicking the can down the road. We know what we need to do. We get 3 different options and figure out which one's going to be best for the
Right.
community and move on.
Because inlet is going to, it has to make sense. It's got to be dollar. You know, we are on a
100%, but
constricted budget, so we have to look at everything.
we need to be more efficient though and get things done in a quicker process in
Yep.
my opinion.
All right, very good. So you guys need any further direction? Or are you good over there?
Good, I just don't know that I can have you a firm price on a complete rebuild by your next meeting.
That's fine. I think that,
I
that's
can have you a
realistic.
price of repair and a removal, but I don't know that I can have you a full, because some of that stuff has to be designed. I mean, because
Sure.
we're dealing in the commercial space, so it has to be designed. It has to be structurally done. I mean, all has to, if we're gonna make a new gazebo, it's gonna have to be done to the current standards and codes and ADA accessibility and all that kind of stuff. So that's where I kind of want to say I can have you 2 options for sure by the next meeting, but the third one is going to be a little bit more direction and somewhat set, you know, we're going to set some kind of budget of what we want to see there, because a rebuild, I got a feeling, is going to be pretty significant. I mean, because the accessibility there is not what it would be today. So I mean, we're going to kind of toss it to the building department a little bit, let them kind of look at it and give us some ideas of what we're going to have to do there long term in order to make it meet today's codes. So I don't know that I can have that one pulled off in 2 weeks, not with 2 ball tournaments and things like that.
No,
Ms.
no,
Young's
no, I
going to lean
agree.
heavy on us for.
I agree with that. Thank you
But
for
we will
those.
absolutely have you some quotes on ideas of what it's going to take to replace the roof, repair the wood rot, and have it repainted with the lead remediation by your next meeting.
Right, right. And I think if you were looking at a new gazebo, maybe you just, is there a kit? It doesn't necessarily have to be the same. And that's a question that comes back to the board, right? Is it you look at a kit that's already out there that's an easier lift than you're starting with and making it exactly the same size and all that, I don't know that that's necessary either. Because if the main purpose of that gazebo is to do weddings, and that's what most people use it for, I believe, is that correct? Then maybe we don't need something quite that big. And so I know that's hard, because we're asking you to like figure all that out, and we didn't tell you that.
I think maybe just if you take a suggestion is let's bring back a quote
Yes, sir.
on what it's gonna cost to repair it, and if you guys don't feel comfortable in that space, then we'll move forward with
I think that's a good option.
with a way to just go ahead and replace it. If you
All
guys
right,
don't
well-
feel comfortable making that kind of investment in the one
All
that's
right,
already
I
down
think
there.
that's a good option, is to look at that. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm still in my commissioner comments. Anybody have any discussion about that? Second is the community Christmas tree. I will tell you, I have met with a team, and we are moving forward. I have another meeting set up, but as I mentioned before, I want to have a community Christmas tree on the lawn at the courthouse come this November, and I'm still working on that. So I just wanted to let y'all know I was still working on that. Thirdly, I want to talk about, I mentioned shade for the dogs. We went out, we had a great little, I guess it was National Animal Rescue Day, and we went out and looked, and I went out, and it was really hot. And those dogs, the runs, we have dog runs and play areas for the dogs out there, very, very nice. But now that it's getting hotter, we definitely need that shade, and I mentioned it to you before. So what I'd like to propose, and I'm going to ask for somebody else to make a motion on my behalf, waive the requirement for basically the bid process, because you'd have to do it'd be a longer process. It's hot. So to be fiscally responsible, I do think we could allow 3 local vendors, or try to get 3 local vendors to participate, and then move forward as quickly as possible. That's what I'd like to see. If somebody would like to make a motion, I'm looking at Commissioner Harvey or Alexander, somebody to make a,
Can I make a comment?
yes, sir.
Commissioner, Madam Chair, thank you. And I want to know, basically, I wouldn't mind waiving procurement at all. I think we need to do what we need to do to move this ahead. It is the summertime, it's getting hotter
It was
and
bad.
hotter.
Those dogs were really
But
hot.
are the shades really the thing? Because, I mean, are they going to be able to stand the wind? And we're hoping for a named storm to fill up our lakes. I mean, we're talking about, or is there a better permanent, maybe a better permanent thing that we could put up that we could go to immediately and get it done?
So let's clarify, when we say shade, we're building a permanent roof structure, much like a carport or a pole barn type structure that would go over it.
So nothing that has to be taken apart
That's
during a
correct.
storm. Okay.
Okay, and we need to waive our procurement to do that?
Well, in the bid process, if you
The
do,
bid pro-
is that the correct wording? If you waive the bid process, then, but you still get 3 quotes to be
Right. No,
fiscally responsible when you still go through that process to try to pick the,
Right, so your procurement code dictates that any purchase over 75,000 requires a hard bid, which would be 28 days on the street after we drew up the specifications, and then it would go through a intent to award, a protest period, and then come back to the board for award. Obviously, that is a time-consuming process. So I believe what I'm hearing from Commissioner Wilkinson is a request, the board has the right to waive that particular provision, and then they would still review 3 competitive quotes of similar products to make sure that we are getting the best, most efficient use of the dollar. That could be done in a much shorter time period.
that's what
Those
I'm
quotes will
asking.
come back to us?
That's correct. It would come back to
Okay,
the board for
I move
award
that we
because you're
waive our
waiving-
procurement
you're
on
waiving a-
this issue and move that forward for 3 quotes to come at the next board meeting.
Second.
Up to 3 quotes, yeah.
Okay.
All right, Commissioner, we have a motion, a second. Now we're into discussion. Commissioner Alexander?
Nothing.
You have no questions?
Nope.
Okay,
Nope, we
thank
answered
you.
it.
We have a
Thank you.
motion, a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thank you. I also want to say thank you to the Blue Crab Festival volunteers. You guys rocked it. It was, I didn't get down there personally, but I could see all the posts on social media, and everybody that got to go was very, very happy about what happened. And we live in a beautiful community, and we all know that. That's why we're here. But the community came together as volunteers. Different organizations came together. I saw some Rotarians down there working, and different organizations came, volunteers, and they pulled that festival together, and all volunteer run. And I'm very proud of that, and I'm sure I speak for all of us when I say we're all very proud of them for coming together to pull that off. So thank you to the Blue Crab Festival committee and volunteers. And I want to say congratulations to our graduates. Our Ivy Alexander is graduating. I'm going to speak, so I don't want you to get emotional. And
He's gonna cry.
I don't blame him.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely not kindergarten graduation.
That's not kindergarten, but to all the graduates, kindergarten, high school, and college, we are very proud of you. We want you to keep dreaming. We want you to keep trying. Don't ever give up. Always do your best. And so, on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, congratulations, and we are very proud of you. And with that, that's all I have. Is there anything else? All right, this meeting is recessed until 5:05.
Oh, boy.